Texas is it's a country. It's not just a state. I mean, they still call it the Republic of Texas. Texas is the only state in America that calls itself a republic, effectively calling itself a country. Like, we are still a country. Texas is the only state that has two official languages, English and Spanish. We have a major food chain operation called Whataburger. We have a giant grocery store that only exists in Texas. It's called HEB. Texas is just a very, very nice place. It's a very cool place to live. A lot of people are moving to Texas, which literally means that Texas is going to change culturally. Texas is becoming more and more like California every year. You have people coming in from the East Coast, and they're going to just change the culture. I mean, you already see it. Texas is an idea. So is California. And that's why they don't want Californians coming in here. Now, I am originally a Californian. I was born in California. I was born in Northern California. I was born in Oakland, California, which is a city up in the north, in the Bay Area, on the coast. I was raised in California. And I can tell you right now that you think that all of America is the same. You think that because you've been to one state of America, you've seen all of America, or you've been to all of America. That is not true. And I had that thought for a long time, that all of America was the same. I'm sure everybody here has seen Napoleon Dynamite. That's Texas. Texas is like Napoleon Dynamite, the movie. That's how it was when I first moved to Texas. It was like Napoleon Dynamite. The culture and how it looked and everything, and how it was kind of bland, and people were living in farms, and people lived in ranches, and people had cattle and horses, and people came to school with cowboy hats and wearing boots and flannel shirts. It's just a very different place. It's a different culture. I saw stuff in Texas that I would never see in California, like people walking around in flannel shirts and boots. So when I was in Texas, I realized, wow, when I was living in California, a good chunk of the student population where I was going to school, middle school and high school, were Hispanic. A lot of people were Hispanic. Then I came to Texas, and yeah, we would see Hispanics, and we did see some black. There were probably like a dozen black guys or black students in the school that I went to, but everybody else was white. And when I mean white, I mean white. These guys are of Germanic heritage. Most of them had German last names. Some of their grandparents even still spoke German. They spoke a Texas dialect of German. They had horses, and you would have a girl bragging about how her grandfather was the local sheriff. I mean, it's almost like in a movie. It was like that movie where that guy, remember that film Tremors? The actor Bacon. I remember his last name was Bacon because Bacon's so easy to remember. I forgot his first name, but his last name was Bacon. He played in a film where dancing was prohibited in a small town. That's pretty much how it was. It was the Hicks. And when I was in California, this is gonna sound kind of weird, but it's the truth. When I was in California, girls would make it very obvious that they liked you, and women would come and they would say, "I think you're cute," and Hispanic chicks would do that, and it was more open, not open, but it was more embracing. When I came to the Hicks of Texas, the only woman who ever expressed interest in me was a lesbian. It was a lesbian chick. That was the only chick that expressed interest in me, and she was a lesbian who had super short hair. And she had wiry arms, and she said that she thought that I was very good looking. And that was the only girl that ever expressed interest in me. The rest of them, basically, if you didn't have cowboy boots, and if your last name didn't have a Von something, if you didn't ride a horse or something, I mean, it was very difficult to have women interested in you. It was very cliquish. I remember, extremely cliquish. And it was really funny because this lesbian chick, I guess she wasn't that much of a lesbian then, but this lesbian chick, she said, "Oh, I think Ted's a really sexy guy." And this guy heard her, and he said, "Ted's a terrorist, right?" Because for some reason, people knew that I was Middle Eastern. For some reason, I don't know how they figured that out, but they did. People figured it out that I was Middle Eastern. And I never told anybody that I was Middle Eastern. Never. I never made that clear to anybody. I didn't want to tell anybody that I was Middle Eastern because I knew that there's a stigma, maybe not now, but at that time, 9/11 was still pretty clear in people's brains. So I understood that there was a stigma around Middle Eastern people, and I didn't want to go around telling people that I was Middle Eastern, or I didn't want that kind of attention. And I don't think it's important. I don't think it's important that I tell everybody that I'm Middle Eastern. It's not important. But this guy said, Ted's a terrorist, right? Now, he said it jokingly, I mean, which is fine. I don't really care. But he said, Ted's a terrorist. And this lesbian chick, she said, he's a sexy terrorist. But yeah, if your last name wasn't Von something, and if you didn't have flannel shirts and boots and all that, I mean, you could forget about it. There's no love. There was no love for anyone else, and that was fine. I didn't really care.